Good morning.
Is it morning?
Much finer.
How long you been up?
Long enough to write a poem. It's about you.
Oh shit. More magic spells. Will it make me grow bigger?
Oh, Bobby, if you got any bigger, you would certainly kill me.
Will it turn me queer?
That's an interesting question. Call yourself straight queer as long as you keep doing what you do. You're my muse now.
Is that why you like me? Because I can be a muse?
No, I like you because you can do serious damage.
You are a poet, seriously smart and a total pervert, right?
I don't mind that word. I call it sex magic. It's a ritualistic approach to higher wisdom.
You like to be slapped around, pissed on, and ramped
Oh,
on.
don't say it like that. It's more of an aesthetic. It energizes me, and it energizes my work.
Cool, man. Okay, look, I can be a sex magician. I just need a place to stay for a while. Maybe I can stay here, maybe?
How long are we talking about? You don't have any money, do you?
No, but I can get a job. I came here to get a band going. I just gotta call some people, suss it out.
Well, if you continue to do what you did last night, you can stay as long as you like.
Cool. Cool. So, what are we gonna do?
With what? Do you like to read?
Yeah, I could probably read more.
Well, we'll work on that. Here. Pick a card.
Three of Swords.
Oh. Sorrow.
Sorrow, that's not me.
Oh, yes. I see some sadness underneath all that studly bravado.
You know, sorrow means sorry, and I ain't never sorry for nothing.
Well, when the world's insane, it's normal to feel some sadness.
Look, I ain't sad, and I never had a normal day in my life.
I'm guessing you had it rough growing up.
Oh shit, what are we telling? Life stories? You don't got time for mine.
And maybe you're a psycho. Me, I'm a born psycho.
You know, people use that word way too much. You have no idea what a real psycho is. When I was 14, I got taken away from my parents. They were crazy. State of California puts me in a reform school, in and out, back and forth the entire time. Then they put me with my grandma. I took off. When I was 16, I moved into a trailer with a couple of actual psychos. Now, some people go their whole lives, they never meet one. I met two.
When did you figure out that you were gay?
Don't fuck with me, Fury. I ain't never been gay a day in my life. Women turn me on. Anyway, I am a Sequoia warrior. I told you that already.
Oh, yes. That's right. You're a time traveler from an ancient Mesoamerican civilization, or so you tried to explain to me.
I was sent here
Last
from a city that
night.
was being blown up by aliens.
In the heat of a homosexual passion?
Look, you can't even pronounce my real name. The point is, a Sequoia warrior is not gay or straight. We do what we do.
I want to hear more about your tribe, I really do. But when I was growing up, anyone who had a leaning towards their own sex was branded a sexual psychopath. I grew up believing I was a criminal sexual psychopath. That makes a deep impression because I liked boys.
Yeah, I don't believe anyone is born a criminal.
Those were ugly times. What happens is you identify with the ugly thing you know you are. You of all people should understand that. Have you ever been arrested?
3 times juvenile. You will never know what it's like.
I do. A little. I was 17.
Get out of here.
long before you were born.
Your whole life was before I was born.
That's right, Bobby. My whole life happened before you were born. And I was arrested for doing nothing.
Okay. Tell me about it.
I was a teenager when I first learned how to cruise. I made the scene with artists, writers, clubbers, and servicemen on leave. I loved it. I felt completely myself. I was a comfortable, middle-class kid. I did well in school. I was the type they couldn't resist. Whenever I had time on my hands, I hopped the Santa Monica line to Pershing Square. My friends and I were too young to get into the all-male clubs on Main Street, so we waited in the alleys or wandered up into the hills of Edendale. That's what Silver Lake used to be called. A good-looking guy would unlock eyes with you, and you'd slip off into an arbor of live oaks. The smell of sweet grass and eucalyptus in summer always reminds me of those days. I was at the beach a lot, too. At night, the waves would roll in, and I would float down the boardwalk, looking for a posse of sailors on the hunt for a French party. I usually did find them.
Hey! Keep it moving, kid. You're not supposed to be here. Does your dad know who you are right now?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm just going home right now. There was an atmosphere of intense danger about everything we did. Before that time, people didn't care much about the cruising scene or same-sex clubs. Cross-dressing was family fare. But when I was a kid in the 30s, there was a sex hysteria, a sex panic building from coast to coast, an all-American Puritan sex hysteria. Psychologists started defining homosexuals as psychopaths. No joke. By the 40s, it was an all-out war. I call it state terrorism, because that's exactly what it was.
State terrorism.
Terrorizing people legally, written into law by the politicians, enforced by the police, enabled by the public.
Yeah, so you're one of those people who like to blame everybody else for their problems?
The public voted for those asshole politicians. The public also paid the cops' salaries without complaint. And the same public could have changed the law, stopped the police, shut down the city if it wanted.
How does the public shut down a city?
Civil disobedience.
Woo! I know all about disobedience, and it ain't civil. Ever.
Well, sometimes it's definitely civil and necessary. A friend of mine once said, "There is no joy without disobedience." Look at that face. I'm going to make a film and put you in it. I want you to play the role of Satan. The film will open up with a volcano and then cut to your face.
You like the way I look, huh? Yeah, I'll be in your movie, but I get to make the music.
Well, I'll have to hear your music first before I can say yes. But you are definitely gonna play Satan. He's an angel. He's the former angel of light, now gone dark. He's the sexy angel.
You are the gayest motherfucker.
Yes, beautiful boy. A threat to the American family is what I am. People still say that. I'm happy to have the job. What's more delicious than being a threat to the American family? And indeed, it can't be helped. Everything I think is queer. Everything I do is queer. My cock is queer, so is my tongue. My fingernails are queer. I talk queer, I piss queer, I shoot queer. And my poems are fucking queer.
Right on. Wow, you are good. Can you teach me a few things? I want to write lyrics. Yeah, I like words. I like words on paper. Yeah, words become something different when you put them down on paper.
Reading is where it all starts.
Wait a minute. You shoot queer? You got a gun, Fury?
A .32 caliber revolver. It's underneath my pillow. I cannot be separated from it.
You ever shoot anybody?
No. Have you? I'm afraid to ask.
That's not in me.
I have a feeling you probably could. But that's got nothing to do with my arrest. Let me finish the story. So there was a danger about everything we did. There was this little hut on the cliff overlooking the beach in Santa Monica. Inside was a camera Obscura. It's still there, though in a different location from when I was a kid. Do you know what a camera Obscura is? It's basically a big pinhole camera. In Latin, it means dark room. There's a hole about that big in the center of the roof with a small lens and a mirror poking out like a periscope. Inside the dark room, there's a big round white table. On the table, you see a projected image of what's outside. The ocean, the beach, the boardwalk. The projection is simply the light from the surrounding world coming in through the little hole with the lens down. There's a crank you can turn to rotate the lens, giving a panorama. Projected from shore to sea on the table. I like looking at the projection of the outside world. Seeing the world as a flat image changes it. It becomes distanced from reality, like art. Now, the camera is also a nice dark place where you can cruise or even do something if there's not a lot of people around. When someone walks out of the blinding California sun, it takes a while for their eyes to adjust. So you've got a good 15 seconds to get yourself together. Now, I wasn't doing anything on that day in 1947, but having a nice walk by the sea. It was a lovely day. I wasn't staring at the bodies on Muscle Beach or loitering in the toilets. I was edging along the cliffs, looking at Catalina and Malibu. And I decided to look at it all through the camera. I paid my 25 cents at the door and walked in. There were a couple of sailors inside. Sailors are always a turn on. But these guys were not interested in me, and I wasn't in the mood. One of them said a few stupid things and left. I was studying the images in the center of the room. People walking on the boardwalk with their shopping bags and purses, some in bathing suits, some holding hands. It's kind of like a silent film. Now this other guy, he seemed to become absorbed in it too. So the two of us are glued to this moving image, and the room is getting hot with sailor smell. And after about a minute, this guy slowly raises his eyes. I knew he was looking at me. I could feel his gaze. So automatically, I glanced over at him to see what he was looking at. That's all. I glanced up for a split second, and that was it.
I'm a police officer, you're under arrest.
He's not a sailor, he's a fucking pig!
Are you a little queer boy? Are you a goddamn sexual psychopath?
3 cops rush in. I was handcuffed. They shoved me into a cop car. Then they drove me around all night in the back seat. Finally, they hauled me into the police station. But for public indecency, it was so embarrassing. I was 17. I called my dad. It was the middle of the night. I was fortunate enough to have someone who could post bail because I could have ended up in the mental hospital. My dad yelled and yelled all the way home. And all the next day and the day after that, he became disturbed and couldn't let it go, dragging me through the dirt in front of my entire family, including my poor grandmother. This stretched on for weeks with no end in sight. They all piled on, except for my grandmother, who always seemed to understand me. It was really all about them. How I had fucked up their self-respect. I hate them all for it. To this day. Do you know what the most powerful weapon on earth is?
Humiliation.
That's the word. You're gonna make a good writer one day.
The mayor of Los Angeles, Frank Shaw, set up a board of psychiatrists to send fairies to mental institutions.
Hospitals experimented on queers with electroshock and lobotomies. Bastard doctors even castrated some people.
Who were the criminals? The queers, the police, the politicians, the public?
Now for the happy ending. After my arrest and my humiliation, I moved out, graduated high school on my own, and found a way to get myself to Paris. After a few years of working at it, my poetry was published. My publisher landed in court for obscenity, but the work became influential among some of the most famous names in 20th century literature.
I became famous too. I'm now serving a life term in a federal penitentiary. That's a story for another time. I'll tell you that when Fury makes a better writer out of it.
My art, my magic, my interests, my versions, if that's what you want to call them. I have every right to them. I am not a crime.